On this episode of the Late Night Startup Show, we are speaking with Bryan Broyles, owner of Portal Pinball, Metro Atlanta's largest pinball arcade. But first, we'd like to thank our sponsors, RCR Video Marketing Group, an Atlanta-based multifaceted video production company creating compelling content to fast-forward your business, and Amazon UPCbarcodes.com. If you're in the market for Amazon barcodes, search Amazon UPCbarcodes.com. They are the #1 source for UPC and EAN barcodes, and all their barcodes are GS1 certified. They come with a lifetime guarantee, and use coupon code RCR Video to get 10% off of your order. Let's get into this fantastic conversation that we had with Bryan. Bryan, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Late Night Startup Show. I'm really excited to be here. I mean, just being in your facility is exhilarating because you see the old pinballs like Space Invaders, and then you got Guardians of the Galaxy right behind me, and it's one of those things where I could definitely feel the nostalgia, but the kids come in here and have a great time as well, and I can tell that it's just a passion of yours. So I want to know, how are you doing so far? You just started in December. It's March, and you're still working your 9 to 5. So how did you get here? Why did you start this Portal Pinball adventure?
Since I've been doing it for such a long time, from collecting to restoring, then I got into the competitive side of it. I've met this huge community of people, and traveling. When I do the community competitions, I travel all over, and then I have people come here as I hold competitions as well. And over time, I'm seeing that the retro gaming is kind of coming back. And I'm watching my friends open them in Florida, and I see one popping up in North Carolina and West Virginia. So I see that there's a need. There's actually a business out there where people are actually wanting to pay to play these games, to basically, I see that there's a possibility that there's an actual income in doing something I love. Mm-hmm. And, at first Amanda thought I was crazy. She was like, you need a business plan. And I'm not saying that it's every business is different.
And to manage your
wife, yeah. And I'm just not the business plan guy to sit down and write the business plan. You got to do the business plan. You got to write down these numbers. You got to do that. And I'm just like, no, I'm just going to go get my LLC. And then that's basically what I did. I just going out. How do I incorporate my business?
Yeah,
I did that. Then the next step. And so I had those kind of steps, and it probably was kind of a plan, but it wasn't like the business plan that most people were wanting to see. So even when I talked to a couple of investors, there's like, where's your plan? And where's your numbers and your sheets? And I'm like, I don't have a business plan sheet.
Yeah.
I've got this passion. I know how to do this. I know that it's out there and it can be done. I know I've seen other people do it, but there's no, as far as references as, it's not like opening a pizza chain where you can go to the next pizza chain or to another franchisee and go, how do I do it just like A, B, and C?
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff was figuring this stuff out because it's all different from city to city and county to county. So learning the hurdles of getting a business license on my own with no help and things like that. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, it sounds like you right off the bat, just trusted your gut feeling, and that maybe stemmed from you being passionate about pinball. So, a lot of our audience would probably, they're probably looking at what do I love to do? What do I spend my hobby time doing? And how do I convert that to money so I can get out of my 9 to 5? And we know you're still working your 9 to 5. So what about being patient? How important is that? How important is just waiting, still working, still grinding during those hours, supporting your family, having that security with your 9 to 5, but, not wasting the time on the nights and the weekends that you have towards your passion project. Just speaking to that a little bit.
It's very important. I mean, we'll do this interview tonight, and no matter how long it takes or whenever we're done, tomorrow morning I'm going to be in Atlanta to, like you said, support the family. And we've got to have insurance. We know we've got a mortgage we got to pay. But at the end of the day, I still know that, there's people who want to play and enjoy the same passion and have the same passion about the hobby that I do. We've had these pinball machines in my basement for a while.
All of these, or like
22 of these games were in my basement.
Wow.
So they were just kind of sitting there. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times I have people come and play and stuff, but the majority of the time these games are off. And part of me just like loves to share it.
Yeah.
And I know it's crazy, but I would get a brand new machine, and within 2 or 3 months, there'd be a tournament. I would just go take it out for the public to play. So, because nobody else is going to bring one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the newest title of the year. I don't want to bring it out because a lot of the collectors don't want people to touch their machines, their trophies. And to me, they're games. And so, and that's, I would sit in my office, which is also in the basement, and look back behind me, and there's all these games. And man, there's people who would just love to play these.
Yeah.
You know, and being able to make money from it is a bonus. Because, you know, I grew up when I was younger, I aspired to be a musician. I played guitar almost my whole life. So I was the dreamer as a kid. I want to be a rock star, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha. Well, I think something that's interesting is, you know, the entrepreneurial spirit. Entrepreneurship nowadays is a popular thing to be. Like it's before it was the hardship. If you were an entrepreneur and you didn't get the college degree, it was, you know, you were in the wrong. But nowadays it is the thing to be and aspire towards. But I feel like pinball is something that can relate to and resonate with the older generation.
Right.
You've built a business around it. So are you ever too old to be an entrepreneur or to be in business for yourself?
I don't think so.
You don't think so at all?
No.
So how did you kind of break that mold and really just, you know, decide to bring these pinball machines out of your basement into here to open it up for a business?
I feel like I was kind of pushed in a corner at work almost. Jobs changing, different expectations. They're wanting to move me. So, you know, it come to the point where like, okay, I've done this for so long, and now I can see over time that, you know, the corporations change and how it's not people driven where I work anymore. It's all definitely down to a spreadsheet number. And we don't care whether you're here, there, whatever. This is what you need to do for us. And if you can't do it, we don't care how long you've been, put time in. So, and that kind of scared me. I thought, well, you know, there's got to be another way I can make it. I mean, I could have left this company and did the same job at another corporate job.
Yeah.
But deep down inside, I still know that I don't enjoy it. There's something inside of me, whether it's creative outlet, whether it's repairing these machines, fixing them, putting them out, displaying, creating my own. I mean, almost everything I do for the business, we do it, from our flyers to the media creations, the videos, you know. So I have that creative outlet in me that in some ways that it gets out through many different ways of this business.
Yeah. Have you had that, you know, since 17 years ago as it?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. From music. And then I got into electronics, working for a local shop, fixing camcorders and VCRs when that used to be a thing before people threw them away. Yeah. And a guy taught me patience and electronics, reverse engineering, and all kinds of stuff. And he's like, you know, because I didn't have any skills. I didn't go to school for it. I told him I was a kid. I soldered things and took stuff apart. He's like, well, that's good enough. You know how to use a soldering iron. Come on in. I'll work with you on the rest. Yeah. So it was, you know, every couple of minutes, I'm like, hey, calling him in. He's like, you know, you got to learn to figure things out for yourself. You know, you got to basically sit and reverse engineer and work how it gets to this point. Because if you can't, and I've got to come in and tell you every time, you don't learn anything. And I don't know if that's something it's innate in a person, or you can teach that to somebody, because I take that skill into everything now. Yeah. When I take steps to the bathroom to do something, if I skip a step or I forget to grab something, I have to walk 3 steps backwards. In my mind, I'm like, that wasn't efficient. Yeah. I should have planned that better, you know. Yeah.
I feel like the term reverse engineer has just become popularized in some sense. Like everyone is talking about reverse engineering self-awareness, reverse engineering your hobby and make it into an income. Does it have to be born within you, or is it something you can kind of learn how to do?
I would hope somebody could learn to do it, because like I tell people that I say that the guy taught me that, but maybe I kind of already did have it. But I think that he told me that he taught me that. Yeah. But that like you said, that the reverse thinking everything out, and I hope people can figure that out and learn that. It's a skill that just falls, like I said, in all kinds of different categories, from even cooking food to, you know, anything, working on these machines, all that type of stuff.
Yeah. So when did you start Portal Pinball? When was it officially opened?
December 16th.
December 16th, 2017.
Yes, sir.
All right, so it's March, what is it, 5th
Yeah.
of 2000.
We're just a little over 2 months.
Yeah, so you're still pretty young.
Yes.
Okay, so what gave you the guts to do this? How did you know that it was something that you kind of were passionate about? Is it kind of you hoping that your hobby becomes a successful business, or do you think that it's a legitimate business, and how did you differentiate the two?
We're still hoping.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, it's doing well.
Better than you thought it would be so far? Or?
Yeah, actually. So our toughest thing, though, I think, is still marketing. That's something that we don't know a lot about. We're relying a lot on the customer and social media. It's such a big thing right now that, we invite every time somebody comes in the door, check in, share, and we leave, let your friends know. We're trying to definitely utilize that aspect of it. And then the normal means, I'm doing Google ads and Facebook, sponsoring boost posts and things like that. But other than that, we're still trying to, what's next? What is our next marketing step?
What's been your biggest struggle so far from in December when you launched to now? Any massive heartache or anything that you've had to endure?
It's really, no, I know it sounds pretty good. I mean, just like our biggest struggle is probably marketing again. I mean, I just don't know. We're still trying to figure out that.
Yeah. And is it just you and your wife kind of managing those social media accounts?
Everything, yeah.
I feel like a lot of people would, think that they need a marketing manager or a social media expert to bring their brand and their business, whether it be online or brick and mortar, to the forefront of marketing. But has it been difficult to kind of figure out and navigate marketing through social media, or are you watching YouTube videos to figure out how to do it? Or?
That, or kind of watching other pages, That's a good thing about it.
There's
other groups. Yeah, there's other groups. You've got other arcades. We follow a lot of the other arcades across the United States because our thing is so niche-y. We're not competing with somebody right down the road, where a lot of businesses are,
Yeah.
This guy next door, he's competing with 5 other shops within a 2-mile radius fixing cell phones. I don't have anybody around me to compete with. I've just got to get the word out that I'm here.
Yeah. But are you still nervous of kind of mimicking people that you're looking at? Or
well, I don't follow exactly. I guess it would be a good way of just kind of you go out and get some data. I'm just pulling things from these arcades. Okay, polling them, calling them. There's a couple of them that have been just unbelievably helpful. Even sending me messages after, but how's it going? Did it work? Did it work for you? Or did that work for you? So, using social media just to reach out to like businesses me throughout the United States, and just grab information has helped us. Now that's where we've looked at and we're like, okay, this is how they're hashtagging, or they're using hashtags, they're doing this, they're doing, so, and we're realizing it does make a difference. I mean, I can see how many people's being reached through just adding certain hashtags to a post and stuff. So it's just like, I had no idea that really mattered. So, that type of stuff.
So how much of your day goes to those analytics to kind of target marketing those people through social media?
Not enough, and I need more. That's where I need to eventually pull away from the 9 to 5 and put my 100% into this.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the online businesses that I've talked to have, kind of gotten so involved in the social media marketing, in the online marketing, that they spend too much of their day doing that, trying to figure out the analytics, who to target, how to filter those target markets down as much as they possibly can through Facebook, Instagram, even Twitter still. Versus you, being brick and mortar, it's like you spend more of your time here. In the store, or at your 9 to 5, but thinking I assume you're thinking about this all day.
Exactly.
When I worked in my warehouse job, I remember just throwing, it was a warehouse job where you threw boxes. I remember throwing those boxes, and each box I threw, it was like, okay, one day I'm gonna be doing. I know what I love to do.
Oh yeah, you go to the bathroom, I pull in my phone, and I'm looking at the point of sale system because I can see in real time what goes on here.
Yeah,
I'm like, how are we doing?
Is it distracting from your day job?
Some.
Yeah,
when things go wrong, or if the person running does not sure and they have to ping me, of course, it's distracting. But generally, knock on wood, it's running fairly smooth.
Okay,
where he doesn't have to bother me, during the day. He knows I work. So,
this whole show is about those entrepreneurs that are working their day job and they're trying to get out of that to do something they love and go into business for themselves. And you're the entire essence of that, the core of that. But I feel like that's something I remember being in video production. I worked, my warehouse job was a day job, but I worked mostly at night, from like 5 to 2 or 3 a.m. And if I had a job for video that day, that someone wanted me to shoot a show or something, I would call out. I would call in, hey, I can't come. I'm not feeling too well. How, is that a good thing to do, or do you?
We have it. We have flex time.
You have flex time, so you're using all your vacation and flex time to pour back into this business.
If I needed to have. So luckily, we've started the beginning of the year again, so it's I've got more time, but. Right now, we did the Ronald McDonald House, so I had to take flex time for that. But a lot of my push also was age. I'm a little older, so I've been doing the same thing for 17 years. Yeah. A couple friends have died. Life starts kind of, you're like, this is kind of the one shot. Do I want to keep doing this? Do I want to just try one time?
Are you 1 foot out the door at that job?
Close. Yeah. Close. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a tug of war. I'm kind of like, they want me there. And I'm like, well, if I go there, I got to go. Yeah. So we got to be flexible. You got to let me work up here and then I'll come to Atlanta a couple of days a week, but I'm not coming 5 days a week to Atlanta. That's 15, 20 hours a week on the road that I'm not getting back. I'm getting, like I said, and that's when I started thinking, man, I'm getting older. Mm-hmm. That's time I don't get back. That's stress. It's just not good for me health-wise, being in traffic, time away from everything. And there's no way I could do this. Mm-hmm. Losing 15, 20 hours a week on the road, there's no way I would be able to make this work probably.
Yeah, that's important. A lot of entrepreneurs, especially new entrepreneurs, they start a business. I've experienced friends that I knew from high school, went to college, they graduated, and they start their business or, go into their startup and they tell everybody, I own my own business and blah, blah, blah. That business may be negative 50,000, but they're for sure telling everybody around it. They own it. And, it's kind of like this badge of honor these days to own your business, regardless of the financials behind that business. Which goes back to talking about being successful as far as the dollar amount and being fulfilled. Right. Did you start this because you realized that you needed to be fulfilled in life, or was it because you realized there was real money behind it?
I think it was a fulfillment. I wanted something that I could do. I've been kind of doing that in tournaments, organizing, bringing people together a couple times a year or whatever. And I think this is more of a way for me to every day to be fulfilled and have that same sharing. I don't know. That sounds corny maybe, but I don't know. Sharing my passion and my love and my hobby, and people actually come and pay for it. Yeah. It's like, wow.
So let's say 15 years go by from today and you're still at your day job and you still have this. Are you a happy man or unhappy man?
Oh, I would be unhappy.
Unhappy?
I would be very unhappy.
Because this didn't take off enough to make a living, or?
Yeah, I mean, well, the problem is, I couldn't do both. I can't burn right now. I'm already burning the candle at both ends, and I realized from the stress, the lack of sleep, and the diet that I'm on right now. It's a rock star type lifestyle. Yeah, it's not something I know I want to do for a long period of time. It's a transition period for sure. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping it's transitional. The way it's looking, knock on wood, it's transitioning. Yeah. Is it secure enough for us? No. The problem is letting go. And that's the hardest part that everybody's told me, is leaving that financial security and just letting go, because that's the hardest part right there. That's the big step.
Well, I was just going to say that, with you saying that you built connections with people in the pinball industry or in the arcade industry, what I hear from that is, do your homework. That's how that resonates with me. And, even with us building this podcast, I've been looking up constantly how to make money doing a podcast, how to be a better podcast host, how to speak better, whether that's helping or not, I don't know. But, I've been constantly just gathering information and doing my homework on how to expand this platform. maybe speaking to that a little bit about how you built those connections. Was it just because this was your hobby, or was it because you kind of knew subconsciously this is kind of what you wanted to do in the long run, to be fulfilled, to be happy? Or
Part of the love of competition, really.
Hmm.
That's how I kind of built that base. Is once I went from more of the collector to the competitor, not to get too pinball-y, I guess, but I was going to shows and expos to listen to designers, audio engineers, people who worked on the games themselves.
Yeah.
Didn't even know there was tournaments happening. So a friend was like, hey, come play in a tournament. All right, whatever. So I play, become hooked. So never go to a show again to ever listen to any seminars. Don't care about anything anymore. Now all I care about is the competition side of that.
Yeah.
So that community there is so huge, being a part of that sanctioned organization and running a tournament that gets big enough where you're bringing people in from out of state. You're bringing people in who actually work for the companies and things like that, who play at your tournament. You bring Roger Sharp, the man who saved pinball, and his wife to the show at Southern Fried, so it's amazing the community it's built around just competitive pinball. I know it sounds silly, but there's a huge family built just around competitive pinball.
Mm-hmm.
And so just running tournaments, starting out 4 and 5 years ago, running tournaments and having people show up, just really snowballed those connections. And it wasn't something I was going, hey, I'm building these connections. It's just like, it's a community. It's like, hey, you show up in Kentucky at the tournament, the circuit tournament, and there's so-and-so and so-and-so. There's the Sharps. There's the, so it's really just like, it got to where eventually it's like, hey guys, I'm coming out to California. Hey, you're welcome to stay here. You've got family almost just everywhere in this community.
Yeah. Did you take that competitiveness into business?
It's a little.
Into starting this?
Yeah, a little. It's still there.
It's still there?
Yeah. I try to fight it, so, I don't want to be, there's not a lot of competition, like I said, for me, though.
Yeah.
So anybody that's doing a little bit of pinball here and there, like you said, you got a friend who's doing probably at a Taco Mac and a Johnny's Pizza.
Yeah.
Those people just help me. Because an average pinball person is going to look up pinball and they're going to like, I can go here where there's one, or I can go where there's 24.
Yeah.
So
on free play.
Yeah.
How do you let other people's opinions and perspective affect you? Is it something that you listen to or take into account, or is it more of a, I'm not going to listen to this BS. I know what I want.
I try not to, but it does. It gets to me. We're trying to do something here, and if we get negative stuff, it really bothers me because, it's just petty. This is supposed to be fun. This is an arcade. So
is that negative from customer reviews or
just competitive people, should I say? I'm trying to foster a new environment for people, and I want it to be fun. I want it to look fun and have fun.
Yeah.
And I know people get competitive and they get intense, but you still don't have to just act weird. But overall, publicly, we've got great feedback.
Yeah.
I've got a couple friends, and that's probably just friends being friends. They're just, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. They want to give you the advice.
Yeah.
They want to feel like hey, I helped him.
Yeah.
I was a part of his success.
Yeah.
Totally. I told him to change that model or whatever, whatever. He's making all this money now because I told him. But some of it's good and some of it's bad.
Yeah.
And then some of it, it's ego, some of it's jealousy, and some of it's really genuinely good advice and opinions.
Well, through taking all that feedback and all those different opinions, whether you agree or disagree, I've witnessed firsthand you being willing to give back, through your passion, like to the Ronald McDonald House, and help with giving that Guardians of the Galaxy machine away. And allowing those kids and those families to experience the nostalgia of playing pinball and seeing the incredible workings of the machine and what joy that brings to the parents, which pours into the kids and, gives them a kind of a distraction in a way. I think it's kind of hard to think of giving when you're so young. You start in December. It's
right.
March.
Right.
For you to have a giving mentality, I think takes just an inherent ability. It's just in you.
Right.
So just why did you think that was a good idea to be a part of that?
as I said before, when we were kind of talking about the competitions and stuff, when we would get together and have these tournaments, I saw online Dan's charity was raising money and what he made money for.
And Dan owns Portal
Project Pinball.
Project Pinball, yeah.
And so I'm like, we're getting together anyway. It's kind of like guys going bowling or whatever. You know, we're getting together. We're having a little tournament. We're going to play pinball. Why don't we all chip $10 or $20 to the side for this charity? And so I've been doing that for 3 or 4 years already. And then when Dan contacted me and said, you know, we're getting close to your dedication in Atlanta because all the donations we made plus Ken Ford law offices donated the other half of the machine basically. And he contacted me and said, we'll do another drive. And we actually had a fundraiser here and raised like basically, you know, the other 25% of the machine's money in 2 days.
Wow.
And to be honest with you, that's probably one of the best things I've ever done in pinball. Out of all of this stuff, that's been some of the most rewarding. That's been the most rewarding thing I've done so far is that day at Ronald McDonald's. You were there, then I met you.
Yeah. You know, do you ever get discouraged on those days where you think it's a Saturday night, you're going to be super busy, and maybe there's just not as many people? You did half the amount of sales that you thought you were going to do. Do you wake up Sunday morning feeling discouraged and like, oh man, all right, we got to make up for it? Or are you like, you know what? That happens.
I do get a little discouraged. But yeah, we kind of, you know, I'll go looking. What did we do the week before? We did, you know, but like you say, I just kind of have to let it, you know, there's so many bigger battles right now that I'm fighting. I'm just like, you know, we just keep doing, you know, it's ebb and flow. It really is. Like you said, with it being by the hour and all day rates, it is really weird. You'll have a flux of people and then an influx of people and then they're gone, you know? So there is kind of that slow moment. There's some weekdays it's been slower than one day. Nobody showed up till like 7:00 at night, you know? You're like, oh Lord, what have I done? Yeah. Thank God I still have my day job.
Yeah. Still thinking for the day job.
Exactly.
Yeah. All that to say, I feel like it's easy to panic being a young entrepreneur. Young meaning in your new business, not actual age-wise. But you know, it's easy to just say, you know, I had a bad day. I didn't make any sales this quarter. You know, how am I gonna survive? And you start freaking out and kind of doing different things. But you know, how did you personally just kind of keep your why and focus? You know, how did you move past that thus far on those days that where you haven't been super excited about, you know, what's most important? What's the one piece of advice that you would give to a young entrepreneur to say, you know, even on the bad days, this is what you should keep in mind?
You're going to have bad days. I think, you know, just like with anything else, you're going to have a bad day. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to have a couple bad days. You might even have a bad week. Yeah. But that didn't mean the end of the business.
Yeah.
You know, and we've saw that within our 8 weeks. We saw a couple 4 or 5 days that thought, okay, is it over? Is the honeymoon over with? What happened? You know, we start looking, did we miss some reviews? What happened? But you just kind of just like, you know, I know it sounds like it's cliche, you know, really just pull yourself up in bootstraps and just keep going and keep doing it. Don't give up.
Yeah.
I just start looking and I start coming up with an idea. Okay, do we run a special? You know, just try something different. You know, 2 for 1 day. You know, just do different things. Start getting creative. You know, if anything, just, you know, try to come up with an idea. Yeah.
Well, like you said, it can sound kind of cliche. I did a podcast recently on another a local entrepreneur and artist in Atlanta. I was a guest on his podcast, and I ended the podcast. He asked me, you know, any last words, and I said, everything in business will eventually sound cliche, but they weren't cliche when the first person said it. They're cliche because it works, and it's been said time and time and time again. So listen to those cliches, and if you listen to those and put them into practice, more than likely you're going to see some success. So for some reason, we all say cliches in a tone that is like, you know, I don't know what else to say. They're just kind of cliche. But really, you know, I think they're a good thing in business and entrepreneurship. Well, Bryan, this has been great. I'm glad we could come up here to Kennesaw and get to see the space
Thanks, I
first and
appreciate you
foremost.
coming.
You got some older machines, new machines, and I definitely will make a visit with my nephew. He's looking super excited. He just wanted to eat his homemade pizza. But anyway, last thing is I want to give people a place to find you. Your social media, website, Instagram. So if you want to just give people links.
We have a website. It's portalpinball.com. We're also on Facebook. It's at facebook.com/Portal Pinball. We're on Twitter at Portal Pinball, and also on Instagram.
Bryan, thank you for giving us your experience and telling us your story. And I know you're very young, but I think you're going to see some great success because you really know what you're doing. You know why you're doing it, which is more important than knowing how to do it. I think, which there's just something to say about being a brick and mortar and creating this business here in Kennesaw. So thank you for being on the show. Guys, I just want to say, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. We are on all those platforms. Be sure to subscribe so you can get more of these stories and more of these experiences and more of this content from these local entrepreneurs. I think there's just something to say about these stories that you can take home and take to heart, and everyone will take these different experiences and it will resonate with them a little differently, and that's the beauty of the show and the whole reason why we're doing it. So be sure to subscribe and leave a review and join us next time. Thank you.